You've had all these things to say I've got a good year, all right. But what I want to ask you is, what's your worst shot? What's the shot you hate the most?
Break off.
I bet why?
That's always the
You practice more already, don't you?
I've been practicing it. Can't get it.
Keep working.
If you like this video, please click like, share it, subscribe, buttons down there, and if you want to go to a meeting, Nottingham Online, all the information is in the bio. So there he is, man of the moment. What am I doing that for? So what I'm going to do for a few posts, I'm going to ask players what their worst shot is, shots they don't like, and this Jack was the first person I grabbed in China. And he said he was shocked. I was a bit surprised. He said he doesn't like the break off, which sounds a bit crazy because it's such a standard shot. But like I explained here, it's not as simple as you may think. Check it out. So why does a player as brilliant as Jack Lisowski not like the break off? Because, well, it's an easy shot, isn't it? You play it all the time. Well, look, I've set the camera up there where you are, so it's right down the line of this shot. So I'm going to play this shot with a head cam as well, so we can see it from both sides. And you're going to see what the white does, where I hit, and you'll see, obviously, because I'm hitting right-hand side, this is not a trace of right, this is right-hand side. You'll see the white go left a little bit, so I've got to basically adjust my aiming to adjust for that movement bit left. And then when we've seen this shot from both sides, then I'll explain why it's harder on different tables. So here we go. Let's get the head on. Obviously I make this look cool, this thing. Love it. Right, here we go. So I'm going to play this. So I'm going to put right hand side on this. This is not a trace of right. Here we go, there, look. And then you'll see, I'm going to play this now. I've got to play this well. And then now, are we good for that break off? We're not too bad there. Left him that there. But yeah, we'll take that. So now we're going to watch this shot from both ends, and then I want to explain why it's harder on different tables. Right, so you see I'm aiming at that dot I've put there, and when I eventually hit it, you'll see, look, the white comes towards us, so I've had to sort of aim to not where I'm hitting, want to hit on that red, and I've got to allow for all that deflection, and again, that is tough to do. That's why players catch it wrong. And the white hopefully goes beyond the green, which it doesn't. Now here, from the other way, look, I put right hand side, and you see I'm hitting right there, and the white, you see how it diverts left a little bit, and then towards the part on the object ball, but again, you can see from both sides of that shot, I'm aiming to miss the point where I want to hit. So now we know how the white moves. Depending on the cloths and the conditions will determine how much that white deviates off that path on the way down to the reds. And you see when I was aiming there, I was actually aiming to miss the red because I need to catch it off ball. So I'm aiming to miss it right, the deflection is going to go left. So then I've got to judge how much I aim to miss by to catch that red at the correct point to come back round here. Now, obviously you can hit that, you've got to be careful because if it deflects too much, then obviously you're going to hit it too thick. When you see players hitting it too thick, that's when the red comes off the pack and back up over the middle because the white's going to come over here. And then sometimes they leave the red in the middle. Right? So players are always, but they don't want to hit it too thin because then they hit the cushions and hit the blue. So it's always you walking that tightrope of obviously too thick and too thin. And like I say, because the tables are different in different conditions, that movement off its line is going to be different depending on what the weather's like or the way the tables are playing. So when we go to these tournaments abroad, as soon as you come off the plane, people are like, if it's really humid, they go, oh, because it's going to be less deflection and humidity, and the cushions are going to go squarer, rather than when it's slippy, when there's less resistance, they're going to go wider. What do I mean by that? This. What is meant by slide is this. So this, I put that, my little marker there, that's about midway between the brown and the white, right? So if I hit midway on this cloth, now this isn't brand new, this cloth, so this is not playing as slippy. So I think that'll probably hit the brown about there. Let's do it. So that's about midway before it was. So on a slippier cloth, that would hit that and go wider, which I mean is more on that path there. And again, depending on how the tables are playing, will determine how much it slips or slides. That's when they're talking about slide. On your club table, if I hit there, you might come across this line because they're older cloths, there's less slip. So, and this is all down to the conditions, which means the weather basically. If it's humid, it's stickier, you'll come more down this line. And obviously if it's really dry, warm, it'll go more down this line. And players are trying to work out how much it's going to come off the cushion, how it's going to play. And again, that influences how they're going to break off. So that's what slip and slide is. So you see there, depending on how the tables are playing, the conditions, it will make an influence on what angle the white comes off the cushion, right? So we're always trying to work that out as well. Now, because of the super slippy cloths that we play on, it's really hard to get the white to this point here. That's where we ideally want to be, right there. So the reason that is because the white will come off that cushion, off the red, wider, hit that cushion wider. So because it's wider and then it's wider again, the white usually lands around there, which means we leave the long red. That's why Mark Williams was sometimes playing into the pack, just rolling into the pack, because he was fed up of leaving that red, the long red, and obviously nowadays players pot it all the time. So he was just fed up of people having the first crack at a red. So now I think he's reverted back to the normal break off, but like I said, so down the club, you probably can't get behind the green because they won't be as slippy as the pro cloth, so it won't get that slide. So when it hits there, it'll go more square, and then you're behind the green. So you see, we've got to take, or Jack or any player has got to take this into consideration. So when he's leaving the red that goes up there, because he's trying to get thick enough to be able to get behind the green. Because if he hits it too thin, then he either hits the blue or he just misses the blue, leaves the white there, and then they leave a pop at the red. So although Jack not liking that shot seems a bit mad, because obviously he's brilliant, all the pros are, even me, right? So it's not just it's not a straightforward shot as it looks, because again, I've got to the point now where I'm actually letting people break first, because when the conditions are slippy, it's very easy. It's very rare you don't leave them a pop at the red. So I'd rather have that first go myself, whether I pot it or not, remains to be seen. But you know what I mean? I think now the break off with the new cloth is becoming really tough. So when Jack says he doesn't like it, it's not as a crazy thing as you'd probably think. So there you go. You can see that it's not, although it's a standard shot, it's not quite as simple as you may think. I mean, on your club cloths, funnily enough, it's easier to play the shot well because you're not having to allow for that slide, which this is really the slide. As much as players love that slide, that's the thing that actually makes the break off a bit tougher, because although, like I say, the slide makes it easier to score because the balls move, that's making that shot harder. So when the red goes up the table, that you see players hit it too thick, they're trying to hit it as thick as possible to swing that white around, but they hit it too thick, don't judge the deflection very well, or not just go miss it by enough, and then they hit it too thick and it's a nightmare. I've done that loads of times myself. It's really annoying because you leave the easy red in the middle and they're on 50 before you can blink. So that's why they don't like it. Just try it down your club, you'll see that ball moving and you'll put them in trouble and it'll be easy to win, I hope. Comment below, see you soon.